So I'm going to start right here with Attorney General Pamela Bondi. Today, the Ninth Circuit found that the President of the United States has the right to deploy the National Guard to Portland, Oregon, where local leaders have failed to keep their citizens safe. This follows hard work by the Justice Department's attorneys and helps reaffirm a simple truth. President Trump is the commander-in-chief. Yeah, not a judge. All right, we will continue fighting and winning in court to defend President Trump's agenda. And move into Secretary Kristi Noem, who is the Secretary for Homeland Security. Another victory for President Trump and the safety and security of the American people. The U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit ruled that the president is rightfully using his constitutional authority to direct the National Guard to protect federal assets, personnel, and public safety in Portland, Oregon. The law, the U.S. Constitution, and Supremacy Clause back the president's action to protect the public and law enforcement, and today this ruling has vindicated us. And I've got this from Nick Sordor. Major breaking, U.S. Appeals Court gives Trump the green light to send the National Guard into Portland, Oregon to quell anti-ICE riots outside the federal facility. Let's go. Send in the troops 47. And we got some images of the president and the National Guard. And also libs of TikTok breaking, the U.S. Court of Appeals ruled that Trump is allowed to send the National Guard into Portland, Oregon. And we've got this for publication, United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit, filed on October the 20th of 2025, of course. And it says, per curiam defendants, appellants, President Donald J. Trump, Secretary of Defense Peter Hegseth, and Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, in their official capacities, the Department of Defense, well, technically the Department of War, but maybe technically not. I know the jury's still out on that if it needs to be a congressional vote to officially codify it as the president or as the Department of War, but whatever. And the Department of Homeland Security, collectively defendants, seek an emergency stay of the district court's October 4th, 2025 temporary restraining order enjoining the president's order to federalize 200 members of the Oregon National Guard for 60 days to protect federal personnel and property at the Lindquist Building, an Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Portland, Oregon. After considering the record at this preliminary stage, we conclude that it is likely that the president lawfully exercised his statutory authority under 10 U.S.C. Section 1240 or 12406, subsection 3, which authorizes the federalization of the National Guard when the president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. The evidence the president relied on reflects a colorable assessment of the facts and law within a range of honest judgment. Newsom v. Trump, 141 F. 4th, 1032 and 1051 9th Circuit, 2025 per curiam, quoting Sterling versus Constantine, 287 U.S. 378 and 399, and subsection, or well, I don't know if that's a subsection, but anyway, it's 1932. We thus conclude that defendants are likely to succeed on the merits of their appeal and that the other stay factors weigh in their favor. We grant defendants' motion for a stay pending appeal. The appellate jurisdiction. As an initial matter, plaintiffs dispute whether we have jurisdiction over defendants' motion for a stay pending appeal, but we have jurisdiction to grant such a stay under the All Writs Act at 1043, citing 28 U.S.C. Section 10 or 1651 rather. Nonetheless, plaintiffs argue that we should decline to consider defendant's stay motion because we lack jurisdiction over the appeal of a TRO, temporary restraining order. While TROs are normally unappealable, the Supreme Court has made clear that where an order has ... and they didn't share anymore. So that's as far as I'm going to get with that. All right, anyway, so I'm going to move on to the next topic. I mean, I'll be on the lookout. We'll see what ends up happening, how soon the National Guard will get there. I'm assuming they'll be there by tomorrow. I mean, we're not talking thousands of troops mobilizing. We're only talking 200 troops. So I don't know why it would take them more than a day to organize them and get them down to protect the ICE facility, or at least assist in that. So I'm sure things are going to get crazy, or maybe the exact opposite will happen. Maybe people in Portland, Oregon will finally decide, you know what, I think this is getting a little bit too crazy, but I highly doubt that.